Good morning. Thank you for joining the Center's Traffic Safety Program and our community education session today. I'm Lisanne, I'll talk about teen driving, and Gary Berkowitz from State Farm will talk about what is insurance.
Ini kuada mana tini nyai teramu lesen kue mutula awe tambalo de blonyai awe ne keweda kle tatu data pukla muda kope center do tamas bako bakhe putri pa weda pu mana do tinyane awe kete baka weda do tasa putale atani tesi etani ble tirpa minno kani mana manno dile do tra Gary o dunia awe kete pya weda baka do ta uko insurance agi klo mana.
Okay, so there's something called the Parents Guide to Graduated Licenses, which really means it's what parents and teens need to know about teen driving and the different rules that go along with that.
Ini mono mupati di pa won tane kle ur kamono ke tasa di pa ne awe se noka kane no mupati di pa bak kwa twe di le mono le pa awe kore pu mono datu di pa ni te pya we na lo read mono.
So my goal today is to make sure that you know where to access these materials. I'm not going to go through every little detail about them, but I want you to know where to find them and and what the rules are.
Ke modu ne tini nyai tramu ata pe nyodu ne di to do da le di pa ne pa ka hu ne pe pele alo wone awe ke te pya we da awe te le du yo ma basana ke ni awe edole pa ke te nya we da ba le hu da di pa pele le mono.
Okay, so you can read about graduated licensing laws at the center's website.
Lepas center awe pua ye bu se kone no ne paweda baka wedo awe license datu ti pasi kote weda ni lo.
So you go to the center Utica and then look at multilingual materials. And those materials are available in Arabic, Burmese, Karen, Russian, and English.
Awe pakaba lesu pa Utica center pinene awe kwe pini mono ne le pini we lo do ne pini ne awe te ko weda do klo mono Arab klo te o pa yo klo pa nyo klo Russia klo egli klo te o mono.
And then there's more information available on the New York State DMV website, which the link is here.
Ini awe link o te kai mono ke we da New York State DMV ni mono pini ne tai ta klo le ani di ne me edo ne le hu da pini te we da.
So it's very important to both teens and parents to understand the rules about teen driving.
Awe wale ka no ka no ta sa pu ga me ge mu pa te pa me ge ne a ri do we da le awe te awe man no ta to o di le ne ka ba ti nya we da ne ri do malo.
So and of course today the our interpretation is in Karen. So welcome Karen community.
Ni do ne pa klo ti da le pa nyo klo mo no aku te tra mu edo ko mu pa nyo pa we ko ade mo no.
Sorry. So because of inexperience, young drivers are more likely to crash.
Ne no awe te tele koplo odo du no awe te huchi we dile ne no ta sa pa no da po ata mi nya membo ne no awe tabadu bati o aho pelo no.
And this graduated licensing law saves lives by helping teens gradually build their safe driving skills and experience.
Ke do ne pa New York State awe baka do las tano tatu ti tanoka tatu ti pani no awe te masa weda ta sa puti pa le di to do awe te ko uro weda tanoka tati taba do ta le koplu pu ple do awe te tati taba ti pani te so do so ko uro weda o sikolo no.
So since they've enacted these laws, there's been an 80% decrease in crashes for 16 and 17-year-olds.
Taro le awe te palo weda tatu ta kai ne no awe pu ta sa ti pale te si hu ni a reputed pa tambandu batile ka ta kopane no losra weda hosim la ke ane no.
So when you're driving with your children in the car, you as a parent are the role model, and they learn and they watch and they listen from you.
Đó, dito do pawe kêu da mu pa ti pa o si got pa kêu da ta duit te ba ta khale pa pu ta ti pa o lo ma ba mu ku na le awe ti ne pe pa no da kan awe ti kwa we da pa we do awe ti kana we da pa we si ko lo.
So there are 3 phases of licensing. So they could get a junior permit, then go to the junior license, and then go to unrestricted driving.
Awe pe ne apoto uta kama no dito do awe ta sa putri pa ne kan du ni we da license o ne te ti ne pa ko we da le to pu do ta sa permit mo no ki hat ka du ne ta sa awe du ni we da license li do ta khat ka du ne awe the si khoni asakate si khoni ne awe te lo we da license pur khale pa ko we da le unrestricted mo no.
So the minimum age to drive is 16 years old.
Ako ne awe te papa no adu ne te si khoni mo no ta le
And they can only drive if they've passed the written permit test.
awe mi wi ne adu ne awe te me fluid permit ta do se ta ka wi ma do awe te no we da ka si basic lo mo no.
And be supervised.
Do awe pa ka ba kwa tre da bu te pa se ko de ka ba o we na si ko.
So they'll go a little deeper into this. So phase 1, the first part is getting your junior permit. So you have to be 16 years old. I can work with you to come up with the proofs of identification. They're a little bit different for refugees than they are for the general US population. If you're in refugee status, study, complete an application, pass a written eye test. A written test and an eye test, and always be supervised driving with a licensed driver over 21 and practice for at least 50 hours. This information is on our website.
Pay ne no awe te te pato ne no ta sa junior permit award do ne atani ne asrakita ne ba o ba o da si huni do awe ID si ko ne ba pa phawe da si ko no do pa ba ko ba ke do pa US awe tipu ko po ne no ata ba pa phatos ali le ti phane lo so no ko ne he ti lo da le tra mute do awe te ka ba ma lo we da do awe te ka ba ma pwe we da lipeti do te pha do awe te ka ba plu we da ta kwe ta do se mo no mi ne awe te ba ma kwa me klisi ko lo mo no do ta ka ba awe te ba no ba ma we da yes he narrated pa mo no ta kita klo te pha khele ne o we da le awe te a website information pu si ko le o we na.
Junior permit holders can only drive under supervision. We talked about that, by a licensed driver over 21. If not a parent, only drive in the daytime.
Awe pay ni adu ne ta sa le ka no ka gai ne no awe kwale ka pa kwale ka ba kwa train ne no atani ka ma uwe da kistini do awe daga si ko ne ka ba uwe na do a driver license mo no do mid mat ko ne awe mu pa ne awe no le awe ti te pe mu musa secretary no.
So there are restrictions on who can be in your car with you, and the details are here and on the website, but no front seat passengers other than the supervising driver.
Awe pe ta saragai no ka khane no awe ko sino le amenya le pa do da pu lo sino ne no pa le kwa trail daga lo no weda akapati do pa le agan he do po akiti ba mo no dai ta klo le lo ti lo se no ne o weda le akapa pe mo no awe do o weda le a website bu sikolo mo no ne le hu ti weda pe.
And if we don't follow rules, you can get fees and fines of $75 to $100, maximum of 15 days in jail. And I'd also say, it's possible for immigration consequences for not following the rules.
Ini on dunia nemi telu potret tato ti pa on dunia no nek ba hiweda se awe bulet ti pa usik olo do batite nek ba lo weda le hupu mono ti sie tote do batite di to do pa kewda pa he weda le pati pa kone no pa ki shek da ke no awe pa immigrant awe ata utasi koni sotle sati mono.
So then the second phase of this is obtaining a junior license. So you'd have to have your permit for at least 6 months, take the 5-hour pre-licensing course, complete 50 hours of supervised driving. The parents fill out the supervised driving certification form, and you pass the road test.
Đó khi to bờ to đi từ đó awe cái niwe đã là sẽ award yon ne awe ka ba no da ka ba uwe da a permit ne ka ba ane di hula do structure hula ma no do awe ka ba to we da yenari awe license at jo တခါမိဝနဲ့အဝဲဘာနိုဝဲဒါလဲပွာကွာထွဲအဖလာနဲ့နာရီယစီတော့အမှုအပါစကောနေကမမပွဲဝဲဒါတော့ကွာထွဲဒါနောကမနော်အ form တခါတော့အဝဲကမခလူဝဲဒါစကောတော့ road test မနော်
So there are restrictions. Junior license restrictions, you may drive without supervision to school, work, school courses, work, other extracurricular activities.
ဖိနေဒုနေအဝဲဒါပပနောဟာစီတပါ autonom နော်ဒီတခါဒုနေအဝဲတိလနောကာစုဂျိုမေဂေဓမ္မမေဂေမိဝနေဂျိုဒါခုတာဂေတခါခမေရနေအဝဲတိလနောသေဒေါ်ပွားကွာထွဲတာတိဖာနေတလူပါခုစပနေတေဝဲတာစကော
They can only have one other person in the car with them under 21 years old, unless passengers are immediate family.
အဝဲဒေါ်အကပါစီကောနေပွာလဲဟပေါ်တင်နေနော်ဖနေခါနေနော်ဟပေါ်တင်နေတကားလောနော်ပွာလဲခီစီတနီစုအပလာနေကမပေါ်ဒါ
If they're driving with a supervising licensed driver over 21 years old, there are no restrictions on the number of passengers as long as each person is properly restrained.
ที่จะเนี่ยพอลาดูเนี่ยดอปเวดาคินนี่ตะกาลบาสนาเกเนี่ยมิเวดาและอหิโปคอปเนี่ยดอปเวดาเตเวดาสิกลดอมิและคิดอเฮนอปอคิเนี่ยคิสิตนี่อพอคอดูเนี่ยเพเนเนี่ยอเวติตาปปนาโตบะมะเนาะ
So like if you had a car with that held 5 people, there were 5 seat belts. So you would only be able to have 5 people in the car. You can't put 6 people in a car with a car that has 5 seat belts.
และกาปูเนี่ยอดูลอสิโนมิโอดาเยคาดออซิเบลมิโอเวดาเยคาเนี่ยเนตอโรเวดาปากเนี่ยเยคาลอเตดอนตอโรเวดาคูกาเตบะมะเนาะ
And children under 8 years old have to be 8 years old and younger have to be in the proper child passenger restraint.
โคตาเลคนนี้ชัวพลาดเนี่ยดูเนี่ยกบ้าอากาศดาวลอสินอสิไปกบ้าโอลอติลอเซบะ
So using any electronic device is against the law for all drivers.
ว่าและปนอดาพูกูกาเดเนี่ยตบาตูเวดาตาปอทาลอและอตูเวดาและลอบะมะเนาะ
If your first conviction, they'll suspend your license for 120 days and put 5 violation points on your license.
แต่เนี่ยดูเนี่ยตามากมาเวดาตาตุตาตอมเนาะคุณเนี่ยไม่มากมาเวดาเนี่ยแต่เที่ยวดูเนี่ยเอาไว้กับปาปนอหาเวดาเนี่ยไลเซนเนี่ยตะกี้คีตอตะกี้คีซีดเอาไว้กับชูดเวดาเล่นพอยดอะกิฮินานี่เย็บพอยมาเนาะ
which means you can't drive for that period of time.
အခုမှန်နေကမေတေပါနဲ့လက်စီအဒူနဲ့နောကတိပါမနော်ဖိနေခါ
So a second conviction within 6 months of restoration results in a revocation of at least 1 year for a permit and 5 points, additional 5 points.
ที่คาตะคันเมเวมากมาตาตุตาตอดูเนี่ยคิมลอดบลเมมากมาเนี่ยเนาะเอาไว้กับปาหาเวดาคูลามเนาะมีเวดาและมีนมีพอเวดาพรเมียดูเนี่ยเอาไว้กับปาหานิเวดาตนี้ดอเอาไว้กับทุโรกิหินาพอยเยพอยมัน
if they revoke your permit, I think you have to start from the beginning. You can't just, they don't just give it back.
When ado na permit driver permit only do awe te make te gada ki odu ne na ba ma pati ro le akhoti mo.
So those two things together would get you 10 points. At 11 points, your they'll revoke your license.
Awe ta ki kami pa po ne appoint sili mo no me tho tu le sit pwa odu ne awe te we da na license ko lo mo.
Okay. And Gary can talk about insurance related to tickets and things. So there's also zero tolerance. Under 21 years old, you cannot legally drive with a blood alcohol content of 0.02 or above.
Awe pay ne no awe ke da ta tu ta to le pa pa hi ka pa na ti ba mo no ke da kisi te ni plan no awe owe da si lo do le apune owe da ti emlakia 0.02 me ani di ne no awe no ka ti ba mo no.
So even if you just use mouthwash to make your mouth feel fresh, that could cause your blood alcohol content to go to 0.02 or above. So you don't want to use mouthwash even.
Awe pay ne do ne na me tu we da awe wa te ta ko ti se ko ne mo no awe na me tu we da ne no na ta ko do ne ka so basana kile ne tu pu do ne na with baka do ti te ka pa ne potoka he ato mo no.
Okay, so this, you know, with the zero tolerance and DWIs, you definitely expect fees, fines, and a revocation and possible immigration problems.
Te se ko ne no awe po ka ba hi we da abuole finding ba oye mi we ne po ke hi ro we da na license ni permit ko oye do tat ti adu ni ba ka we da do pa awe he o we da pay ata uta no immigrant ata uta si ko ni ko short le tai mo no ta ko da ke ko.
Okay, DWIs can cost people $10,000 or more.
Awe DWI na me o ti we da na me no ka ne no pay ne awe na ba hi we da abuole ne tekalable ti mo no.
So parents can monitor their teen driving by enrolling in a teens program.
Pay ne mu pa ti pa si ko ne awe ti kwa we da apoli no ka ne si ko ne no awe me pa le teen awe tas TEEN mon TENS a program palani ti si ko lo no.
So you have to require you to have internet access. There's more information on the website. So
internet clear pane luba weda sikolo no do taita klule ani dio dune weda le website mo na len weda sikolo.
So that way they can't get a ticket and not tell you about it. So you'd be notified.
Pine kani odu ne me weda le direct kle pala ka hu ne no odu na po minno ka do mini weda ticket we mi te hete pya ba masana ke ni tinya weda ti mo no ba mu kle ne po ke du tinya na mo no.
Because it's really important to handle. There's a time, that time is, the clock is ticking when you get a ticket and you have to handle it. So you don't want them hiding things from you.
Ako ne no awe nete edole awe na po awe pakutua ta milen no umam no bam nukule ni min niu da ticket do ne no aseke to ne le pu da klima no mi we ne odu ni ne lu ba we da nak ba awe wash we da ticket ta kita klu da kai ne se ko ne aso klima no.
As a parent, the car is your car. You get to control whether the child uses it or not.
Dito na mo paragani no kani odu ne kama no ako ne na po ko tu dile ka ba tu dile do awodo ne awe ne ka ba kwatre we da mo no.
If they are not being responsible, or you think they can't be responsible, you have the right to cancel their permit or license.
ado na pura da lupo tren dak lu do awete to kwatre na kagi awete no kabane no awe na putu we dan na pura ga permit do ala se basic olom no
which means they would not be able to drive.
akomnya dune awete no kat feel bom.
Okay. So eventually, none of that stuff happens. They can get at when they're 18, their unrestricted license, they'll be mailed the unrestricted license when they're on their 18th birthday.
Maka apato ki kata kane no ta ko ta ke me te ke ta no te mi ba ko ne no pe apato ta to pato awete atani mi puete si ko ni pe o plemuni ne no pa ke shelo weda awe license no pa ko weda the unrestricted license no
So safe driving takes practice.
awe ta no ka apu apleo do ne lu ba weda ta cholo ta
Sometimes there's a driver's ed course that can be taken. Sometimes the schools offer them, or you go separately to them, and then they can, at a younger age, be fully licensed at 17, but only with that course, and there's still some restrictions.
awe ta pa no ha autonom no ta ti pa si ko ne ba ma le pue do ta ka di ba awe ba to ba hi ta ma lu si ko ne o ye mo no ta blo ko ne chu ne awe ti hi we da ta no ka a course ti pa o si ko lo mo no do awe ti mi ma pue ta ti pa mi wi ne no awe ti si ni ni ne ba ti ni we da license ti mo no
Practice, 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 and follow the rules and restrictions. It's really, really, really important.
when nang ba cholo ta nang man no lu ta cholo ta ne do ta ka di ba nang man lu po tre ta tu ta to do awe ta pa no hati de pa lo ta ti pa ne read do ma lo
Okay, so again, you can go to the center's website, you can go to the DMV website for more information on teen driving and graduated licensing.
awe ba ka we da do ti pota sa puti pa ta no ka do awe te ka du ni we da sen di le agi klu ti pa ta ita klu ani di letra mu te pya ni me do ti nya ni le we da su awe as the center the DMV awe apa ye no website puti we da sikolo.
Thank you, and I'm gonna pass it on over to Gary, who will talk about insurance, which is a huge, huge part of this whole thing. We have to have insurance on our cars.
Thế nè đó đưa nè tra mu nè cái mà bắt đầu đã phải lo đó vậy cái lo su tra Gary mà nó awe đưa nè awe cái tip awe đã insurance đã azu lo mà nó bam lu nè cả con nè every do we đã le ba we đã insurance